Hey there, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be reading from the No Sleep subreddit. So let's get started. The Forgotten School. I am Lena. I am a photographer who specializes in urban exploration. I have a camera around my neck 24/7. My friends think it's weird, but whatever. They also think it's weird that I love exploring abandoned buildings and places. One evening in the late summer of 2013, I was walking around my hometown of Ashton looking for something new and interesting to photograph when I came across the old Ridgeway Elementary School. It had been abandoned ever since a fire forced everyone out in the early 1970s. There were no windows left in the building, and the roof had caved in several places, but something kept calling me to go inside. I managed to pry open one of the basement windows and crawled through it. The air inside was stale and dusty. I could smell ash everywhere. I found some old gym clothes in the basement, and they were so brittle that they disintegrated as soon as I touched them. Up ahead, I could hear a gurgling sound. I followed the sound until I came across a room that was flooded with what looked like thousands of tiny little pebbles. The water was draining away from underneath the floorboards, and the room itself had clearly flooded at one point, judging by the line where the water had reached on the wall. But the strangest thing was definitely the pebbles. They were all around me. The sight was mesmerizing. I stood there for almost 2 hours taking pictures until my camera battery died. Upstairs, I found several classrooms. They were all in various states of disrepair, but one of them was relatively intact. The kids must have panicked and run away from here in a hurry. Desks were overturned, papers were scattered across the floor, and there were books strewn about everywhere. On the walls were crayon drawings made by children. Most of them were happy pictures of smiling suns and stick figures holding hands. But as I walked further into the building, the drawings became darker. There were stick figures with hollow eyes peering out at me. There were houses drawn in flames, and one drawing in particular caught my eye. It was a picture of the schoolyard. In the middle of the playground were 5 or 6 children surrounding something in the middle of a circle. But what was strange was that the child in the middle had no face. It was just a black void. I took a picture of it and continued on. Then I heard it. It was the faint ringing of a school bell. It couldn't be. The bell tower collapsed in the fire and was long gone. Drawn to the sound, I found myself walking toward room 6. As I opened the door, I could see that the room was completely different from the others. The desks were neatly lined up, and the bookshelves were stacked with books in perfect order. The only thing out of place was the blackboard. Someone had scrawled 3 words across it in white chalk. "Sit down, class is starting." I thought it was pretty funny and was about to take a picture when the door slammed shut behind me. I spun around, nearly knocking over a desk in my haste, and ran to the door. But it was no use. The old wooden door wouldn't budge. I tried to pry it open, but it was locked. On the floor in front of the door was my camera. I picked it up and looked through the lens. Of course, the battery was dead. Great. Now I was trapped in an abandoned school with no way out and no phone signal to call anyone. Then I heard footsteps. I don't want to scare you, but they sounded like fingernails on a chalkboard. I tried screaming, but my voice wouldn't come out. All that came out was a pathetic squeak. That's when I started to cry. I don't know how long I sat there for, but eventually the footsteps stopped. Maybe it was my imagination. Maybe this crazy idea would be over soon, and I'd be able to leave. When the explorers finally got into the school months later, they found my camera in room 6. The last picture it had captured was a blurry shot of me sitting stiffly at a desk. The explorers didn't get a chance to take a picture of the desk, but according to them, it was covered in what looked like hundreds of tiny pebbles, and surrounding me were the children. Their faces were nothing but empty black holes. That was our story for today. Wasn't that a great one? If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. Also, if you have a story you want to share, please send it to the email below. Until next time, stay safe and sleep tight.